to the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky. This is the First Federal Savings Bank Bluegrass Nationals. Hello, everyone. I'm Claude Wood, along with Tom McConnell, and we will have truck and tractor pulling at its finest here tonight. Let's get things started, Tom, with a heavyweight superstock tractor.
Mike Roberts doing the driving. He and Tom Castings are partners on this particular tractor. Strong John Deere 4 turbochargers. He will set the mark to beat 196.16. And remember, this track is only 240 feet long, and you got to go up the hill. We're at Brandenburg. It's a little different from most other places we pull. Short track, and at the end, you're going to earn it when you go up the hill.
That puts a new kink into the plan, Tom, and another challenge altogether. This is Alan Moore, and he has just gone 199 feet, and that will be a new mark to beat.
Rick Sheets coming out now, the Misery and Jen tractor out of Bowen, Illinois. I love that aerodynamic look of the wing on top of the roll cage there, Claude.
Is that really that functional, or I get the idea just there for looks?
Just there for looks. These guys have a good time when they come to the events.
And what a sense of humor, too. Eileen is driven by Nick Hicks, and there was a funny story about that I don't guess we'll go into.
Well, you're talking about how he got the name for the tractor. I bet that's what you're referring to, Claude. And if that's the case, we'll just let everybody figure it out on their own. 192.12 for the Eileen machine as we bring before you now Kit Payne with the Rooster Cruiser, one of the more unique people on this entire circuit.
And not a bad run going so far, Tom. 188 feet. The third member of our broadcast team, Brett Kepner.
Well, gentlemen, the First Federal Savings Bank Bluegrass Nationals here at the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky is one of the regular stops on the ATPA Jasper Pulling Series. And it's a pretty weird one, too. You know, the nice thing about pulling is that every facility is different. This one's no exception. A relatively short track, only 250 feet. But if you look back behind me there, you'll notice that it goes uphill pretty quickly, right past the 250-foot mark. Now, normally that wouldn't be a problem, but you have to remember that the measurements are taken at the front of the sled or the weight transfer machine. So if a machine goes to the finish line, it's literally going to be pulling uphill for a little bit. Now, as far as the track itself, this place is notorious for its deceptive surface. It looks like it's hard as concrete, and it's even been watered down. But this place has been in the middle of a drought, and that means that even though it feels hard, it'll probably break up later on in the evening. Now, there's other news. In the lightweight superstock tractors that we'll be seeing later on, the current points leader, Larry Phillips in the Insanity tractor, and number 2, the Walking Tall Ford tractor, both blew up parts at another event last night. They won't be in competition tonight. That opens the door wide for people like Leroy Mason and the Down and Dirty Machine, and, of course, Darren Meese and the Squealer.
Another great crowd on hand for tonight's truck and tractor pull presented by First Federal Savings Bank. It's called the Bluegrass Nationals. And we're at the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky. And Brett talked about Darrell Meese. Tom, let's take a good look at him right now.
Darrell could very easily be the one to beat. He is probably making more horsepower than anyone else on the Meade County Fairgrounds tonight. Not going to work for him. The squealer is broke. Couldn't get the boost up on the turbocharger.
Well, Tom, horsepower is one thing, but if you can't get it to the track, it is exactly meaningless. Let's take a look now at Night Trouble.
Kenny Hale won this event here 2 years ago. Is he going to take it here tonight? He's got to beat 199. He is the new leader, Claude.
215 feet. And quite an impressive pull. As we take a closer look via the Lucas Oil replay, you can see right out of the gate, he's up in the air and headed straight down the track.
Driving it just like his nickname implies, Kamikaze Kid takes the lead.
Well, it's one thing to sneak into the lead by a couple of feet. To do it by 16 is pretty impressive. What did you see up there? I mean, you saw something on the track different.
Well, the track ain't near as good as it was last night. You're going to have to get a good hole shot to be able to get down here past where they're at, because the track is going away on this end.
This program brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the nation's leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions. And by Lucas Oil Products, #1 in the trucking industry. And by Liberty Herbicide, freedom from crop injury and weeds. Stay with us. More action coming your way in the heavyweight superstock. Welcome back to the First Federal Savings Bank Bluegrass Nationals. One of the unusual things about this track, a little tunnelway leading back to the staging area as the pullers come through and get ready to make their hook and make their pull. You're looking at Charles Kemper as he gets things going with the orange peel.
Orange peel on its way to a good run. He's got the front end up. He's got to be 2:15.26, and he does it, Claude. He takes over the lead. Check it out in the Lucas Oil replay. A good run. It's starting to boggy down there, but he's got enough RPMs and torque to just keep the Alice going.
Well, the smoking problem is still there, but you'd already told us that that wasn't that serious, and obviously it didn't hurt you out there.
No, well, we ain't got that problem solved, but at least we're getting towards the right end of the track, right?
If everybody thought the track was going away, you make it seem like maybe it's coming back now.
It seems like it is going to get a little better, yeah. So hopefully by a later time tonight, it'll be a real good track.
Hey, Alice in the lead. There's happy fans out there.
And I'm happy, too. Thank you.
216 feet will be the mark to beat, and that's the mark that the Wilhite brothers have in their sights right now, Tom.
Of course, the Wilhite brothers are running an alcohol-powered New Holland, which the alcohol is now in the lead. You see the brothers there making some last-minute adjustments on the New Holland. This is a gorgeous machine. They've got to beat the 216 mark. Can they do it? The RPMs are up. But they're not staying up, Claude. He's going to have problems.
Very sluggish coming off of that starting line, and he does not get very far. Only 143 feet. Way short. That will not get the job done.
Check out a guy I know we've seen many, many times here on Speed Vision, Robert Galloway, with his world-famous hook, many-time National Farm Machinery Show champion. The John Deere fans are on their feet, but he's getting pulled over to the right-hand side, Claude.
Very close to the right, and you heard those superchargers come up. This, of course, a diesel tractor, and he comes up very short. Here's another Ford. This is Corey Forrester, and he calls it hot iron. We'll see how hot.
Well, it is sounded hot. Corey's on his way to a good run, it looks like, Claude. But look at that again. One of the problems that you face when you come to Brandenburg, the track is narrow, and it just about pulls him out of bounds.
Ran out of room, 202 feet. Well, here comes the guy everybody has their sights on. He figures it out at most events. This is Leroy Mason.
Leroy Mason won this event last year and won it the year before that. Will he do it this year? No, not going to do it. It's going to put him in second, Claude.
Second place, only about a foot behind. As we go to the standings, you can see Charles Kemper right there on top with his first ever ATPA win.
You got it.
Well, it's about time, Brett, really.
Anytime you can beat Leroy, and it has to be by a matter of inches out there, you've done your job.
I'll take that anytime, yeah.
Now, when you saw him making a pole and you saw him stop out there, you had to wonder to yourself, was it good enough?
I thought it was good enough, I'll tell you.
Stay with us. Coming up next, we'll have those modified 4x4 trucks. Welcome back to the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky. You dialed in another exciting evening for American Truck Pullers Association Truck and Tractor Pulling. Tom, we go right now to the four-wheel drive trucks, and this is a pretty exciting category.
Modified four-wheel drive is very, very popular here at Brandenburg, as it is everywhere else in this country. Spellbound, this truck will set the mark to beat. He will have the option of keeping this run or turning it down. Galen Young will be driving on the Tom Samoyan machine. Check it out. Galen Young won this event 2 years ago. Of course, he was driving the Renegade truck. He's driving his engine builder Tom Samoyan's truck. But, hey, Galen might just have set the mark to beat 241.76.
And Tom, on the replay, he really figured this out. Here's Brett.
Well, if they do accept this weight, will you take that pole?
Well, I don't know. I might think about it here in a couple of minutes.
It's not like you to give up one that's short of the finish line.
Yeah, I know. I'd like to pull the thing, but 9 feet short.
Hey, less than 24 hours ago, you made this truck work. The question is, what are you doing in it?
Well, I don't know. Just a little spellbound magic, I guess.
Well, here comes some child's play. This is driven by Charlie Dutton. And Tom, some pretty nice graphics back there on the back panel.
Oh, very much so. Charlie Dutton's been a been a pro at this for many, many years, a competitor you can't never count out, and just got the word from the pits. All joking aside, Galen Young did accept that run. The first puller has that option of keeping it or turning down. Galen Young has set the mark to beat at 2:41, and Charlie Dutton will come up short at 2:36.
And it's time now for the Lucas Oil Best Appearing Award, where we choose the most professional and best-looking truck or tractor in competition. Brought to you by Lucas Oil, #1 in the trucking industry. Now, with our best appearing, here's Brett Kepner.
Our Lucas Oil Best Appearing Vehicle of the event, awarded at each and every ATPA Jasper stop, usually showcases some of the best-looking trucks. Hey, Jim Mootz's beautiful Buckeye Shaker is no exception. Everything about this S10 is absolutely flawless, from the polished cylinder heads up there on that 648-inch Pontiac all the way to the firewall, for that matter. But this truck is not just a beautiful piece. This truck is also one of the most competitive out there. And this year, this guy's having one of the weirdest problems of anybody. A little too much power. Now, what do you do in the sport and pulling when your engine builder says, here's your motor, but it's 100 horsepower more than you thought?
Yeah, we got to worry about trying to get it hooked to the ground. I've been having little problems, bounce problems, and, as far as, getting too much, wheel speed, not getting it hooked to the ground. So.
Now, the bounce that you bring up, that's something we see every once in a while. Is that usually a sign of too much power?
Well, sometimes in air pressure and, just different things. And that's why I changed 2 or 3 things here this winter, too, and I'm just now, getting it straightened out, or think I'm getting it straightened out, where it's halfway working for me, so.
Yeah, if I know pullers, it doesn't matter who you told in the pits. Nobody's going to believe you when you say, yeah, I got too much power.
Well, just getting it not far as power too much, but getting it to the ground, you can have all the power you can get, but if you don't get it to the ground, it's not going to take you anywhere.
Excellent point. And I should point out that while he still has not matched last year's great success with this ride, as you can see, it's as clean as it ever was. And watch him in competition, because this week's Best Appearing Award winner just might end up being the winner, period.
Thanks, Brett. Excellent idea. Let's take a look now at Aaron Mobley and his Mad Dog.
Aaron Mobley has won this event before, and he has got a lot of ground speed, Claude. A lot of ground speed. Look at that body just bobbling around there, but the ground speed doesn't get him where he wants. Still comes up short at 231.68.
Yeah, Tom, about 10 feet short, but at least he had a good start going. Jim Moots now in the Buckeye Shaker as we take a close look at his truck.
Look at the size of that hook that they hook into the drawbars of these trucks. Now, it's amazing to think that some of that stuff could ever break, but if it ever does, that kill switch shuts those guys down oh so quick. 234.12 for Jim Moots.
And Tom, here's a look at Junior Brown in Benediction. We saw him earlier in the season as he started out this year with a new paint scheme on his truck.
The Junior was hoping to run the entire Grand American Series. He ended up having to miss a couple of events. It kind of put him out of the points race, but here's a guy that has won this event in Brandenburg before. 2 years ago, he was the guy to beat on the Friday night session. Brett Brown coming up now. I love this truck. My other truck, he's kind of a local guy just down the road, and if you can't guess what his profession is, let me give you a little hint. Look at the paint scheme. Now, what else looks like that?
Well, I have an idea. He just may be in the dairy industry.
A good choice.
That is the mark to beat.
231 feet for Mr. Brown. Not close enough. Well, Someday, we met this fella earlier in the season and asked him, how did you come up with the idea of Someday? And that was an interesting story. He said, I'll get around to naming it someday.
Well, maybe someday we'll have his day today by winning an event, but it's not going to be his day. 236.42 or look.
Stay with us. We'll have more 4x4 trucks when we come back. Welcome back to Brandenburg, Kentucky, the Bluegrass Nationals. And I might mention a couple of unique sponsors here you don't usually find in motorsports. Kissel Shows, supplying the carnival entertainment you see there in the background. Also, Big Rivers Electric, supplying power not only to the carnival area, but to our track, which is lit very well as well.
Back in the truck bullet action, Gary Varner comes out of the hole really easy, then gets on the throttle, seeing if that theory will get him down the track farther than anyone else, and it's not paying off. 230 and change. Galen Young still in the lead as we check out aboard now. Kim Eddington with the busted loose. Kim is starting to bounce. The truck kind of veering over to that right-hand side. Kim is going to come up way short as well.
Yeah, Tom, he lost a lot of distance there when he goes side to side, left to right. It takes away from the old end product there. Terry Turner in the Desperado now.
Well, in a world full of Chevrolets, every once in a while you see a Dodge, and this is a good-looking one, the Desperado machine, and starting to bounce, and look at these tires. He is catching grooves in the track, and he is really having to fight the steering. Terry Turner is going to come up short.
As we see Mike Clark back up in his pack rat and prepare to get hooked up right there to the sled. We'll see how it works out for him.
Of course, the pack rat is a truck that was built literally from scratch, still running a steel Chevrolet body, while most everybody else out here is running your fiberglass type bodies. This is a one-of-a-kind machine, and the pack rat still can't beat the lead distance set there.
He does not, but Tom, that is a beautiful machine.
That's good enough for second at this point.
All right, it's time now for the Valco Tech Tip, where we share some of the best-kept secrets of the motorsports industry. Brought to you by Valco of Cincinnati. Now, with our tip, here's Brett Kepner.
You know, the between-event maintenance in the sport of pulling is just as tough as in any other motorsport. Case in point, at the previous event before this one, Roger Simon destroyed an engine and had to put in a brand new power plant. Interestingly enough, a spare that hadn't been fired up in over 6 years to compete in this event tonight. But he's using one of the products we've talked about before. It's one of the most miraculous deals in history. It's called Gel Lube. And if you remember our previous showings of this particular product, it allows you to coat valve springs and just about anything else before you actually assemble an engine. Now, as a good example, Steve Olson, the crew chief for the Simon Says machine, has already applied just a few minutes ago to the valve springs the Gel Lube, and you swear up and down this thing hasn't been run in 6 years?
No, it's been sitting in the trailer, and this is the first time we've ever needed a spare motor. We broke a camshaft last night, and we're going to put it in. It's not as good as it should be as what we took out, but we're going to go out and run and compete with the guys tonight.
Well, if that's the case, then the Gel Lube must be a wonderful product for you in this situation.
Oh, we love the Gel Lube. It's the best product we've ever had. We use it on valve springs, rocker arms, bearings. We use it even in the superchargers when we rebuild them to keep the heat out of them.
No kidding. You actually spray it directly onto the rotors?
Yeah, we put it in the superchargers. We get a brand new supercharger. We pull the end frame off and coat the end frame down with Gel Lube and the ends of the rotors and run it up, and we don't build the heat in the superchargers like we do when they're brand new.
Yeah, so that would make a brand new supercharger just as efficient as where you want it, which is about halfway used.
Well, it makes them so that they'll run and not create so much heat and friction, and they'll last longer because we didn't half wear them out just starting them the first time.
Well, that's one example of what you can use this product for, and believe it or not, we've heard recently of people using this directly on a ring and pinion, even a brand new set, to again decrease the friction of a brand new meeting of metal to metal. If you can use this on all those different surfaces, imagine some of the tricks that you yourself can come up with a little imagination. Stuff is amazing, and it's a one-of-a-kind product.
You know, Tom, a lot of people out there call the 50s the good old days, and I think Alan Steed likes those days. He's sort of lost in the 50s.
Well, hopefully he'll be lost in the 50s, meaning 250 feet. That's what he's aiming for, and he's not going to do it.
Right now, let's go down to Brett Kepner.
Well, gentlemen, standing out there is your leader, Galen Young, and that truck on the starting line says Galen Young on the side. Why? Well, Baker, the driver of that one, is part of a two-pronged assault that both, obviously, Galen Young and Baker are posing to the ATPA trucks. On the four-wheel drive class, there's a lot of serious rivalries. One of them is these two against Donna Webb.
And, Tom, they have their hands full in trying to deal with the success of Donna Webb.
Donna Webb is a two-time ATPA Grand American Jasper champion. Galen Young, however, is a one-time champion who is working really hard to be a champion 2 years in a row. Baker comes up short.
Well, gentlemen, the best possible situation for a spectator at a pole is to have each successive puller beat the previous ride. But this is an interesting situation in which, of course, you saw Galen Young, first man out, take the lead and never relinquish it. Now, you might think that's a great situation, but for this guy, it's got to be racking to sit here and have to watch every single person take shots at you.
Oh, it sure is. There's about 20 trucks there, I believe, tonight.
This is, I believe, your biggest arch rival up next, Donna Webb.
Yeah, Donna Webb's very tough. Very tough. It doesn't matter where she hooks, she's tough.
Tom, let's talk just a moment about dedication. We learned earlier in the season, Webb Enterprises left their previous job and are doing truck and tractor pulling full time.
Exactly right. Donna's doing the driving. Freddie is doing the wrenching. He's also selling motors. What they're wanting to do right now is win, and they're not going to do it. They're going to come up short. Their arch rival, Galen Young, holds the lead. We check out Jim Lyons now. This guy knows how to drive a four-wheel drive truck. He could be the guy to upset this thing. Claude, he's getting close to the hut.
He is very close, but a little bit short, Tom. And as we go to the leaderboard, we can see Galen Young right there in first place. 241 feet. Jim Lyons not too far behind.
That's it. It's official then. He's second. You're first. But I'll tell you, I don't think you were expecting somebody to slide between you and Baker.
No, I sure wasn't. I thought that was a close deal there.
You called it because you had told us in the middle of the poll. You said, hey, you got to watch Jim Lyons because he's pulling good right now.
That's right. He sure is. He's really come around the last 3 or 4 hooks.
Stay with us. More from Brandenburg. To be more specific, the super modified two-wheel drive. You can't beat a good time at the old fairgrounds unless, of course, you happen to be at a truck and tractor pull. And that's where we are tonight in Brandenburg, Kentucky. And we're glad you joined us. Now the super modified two-wheel drive trucks. Let's take a close look at Rich Sanford.
Rich Sanford will be the first puller, which means he has the option to keep this run or to turn it down. And Rich Sanford won this event 2 years ago, getting off to kind of a rough start, but Brandenburg is a rough track. It's a unique situation here. Rich will set the mark at 240 and change.
Let's go down now and check in with Brett Kempner, who is with Rich Sanford and the Valco truck.
You know, Rich Sanford started out the season great, and then things just didn't live up to that. But now maybe they're back.
Well, we've been having a problem. We had a little, lost our tune-up on the motor, and we've pretty well come back. I don't know. It depends what the track's going to do tonight, whether this is going to hold up or not. But
you traditionally do very well at this track, and it's one of the hardest to read.
Right. It is. You're going uphill, so you got to get your momentum in the middle of the track so you can get up this hill over here.
Tom, not many Mopars on the grounds tonight, but Roger Simon is pretty proud of the Simon says.
Of course, this is his Chevrolet. You'll see his Mopar out here a little bit later on, but the Mopar is currently the #1 truck in the Jasper Engine Building Series. But the Chevrolet has just taken over the lead here tonight.
Well, that'll present a challenge to his Mopar.
Well, I don't think he's too worried about his Mopar. Even though the Mopar is the points leader, he just wants to have both of them 1 and 2. That's the Roger Simon I know.
And Brett Kempner has more for us.
And you're still going to tell me that motor has not run in 6 years?
No, that motor's last time I was in this truck. I wasn't in this truck, it was a different truck 6 years ago, so it didn't run too bad.
That's unbelievable.
No, we got a good engine, Chief, and we got good oil in it, Sempico.
Unbelievable. Now, if you can get that other one out that far, you may just have 1 and 2 locked.
I hope we do.
Still with the super modified two-wheel drives, here's a look at John Shope and his special delivery. Tom, what a paint job here.
This is a very interesting situation. This is a delivery van. It's licensed as a full-size truck, 1957 model, and he gets to run at the 6,200 pounds.
It's time now for the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Best Engineered Award, where the ATPA officials choose the vehicle that is technically outstanding. Brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions. Now with our best engineer, Brett Kempner.
Anybody who follows ATPA Jasper Pulling knows the name Sullivan, and they should. It's one of the most competitive teams in the entire two-wheel drive category. However, many people don't realize the incredible background of this team. First of all, it's 2 trucks run by 3 brothers, dad, and 1 son. But if you go back a 4th generation, believe it or not, the Sullivans were innovators of the entire two-wheel drive pickup truck pulling concept. They've been around since the beginning, and these 2 trucks are certainly worthy of receiving the Jasper Engines and Transmissions Best Engineered Team Award. There are 2 different types of vehicles, believe it or not. This is a little Chevy S10. The Thumper machine uses a single spark plug, supercharged aluminum Chrysler Hemi power plant. Over on the other side there, the Kentuckian, just as tough as this one, obviously a Sonoma GMC, but underneath a twin spark plug, supercharged Chrysler Hemi power plant. Why the differences? Well, when you look closer, you'll find there's even more.
We got twin spark plugs for ours. We just haven't got all the parts rounded up yet. You know, we
certainly hasn't slowed it down any.
No, we've been doing well. We got some new came on board with split fire spark plugs, and the performance has been there, and we joined up with Megapire, and really working well.
And I believe you also have a rather unusual non-automotive sponsor on that truck.
Yeah, Boomer's Products to fight cystic fibrosis. It's a barbecue sauce and salsa to help find a cure for cystic fibrosis.
Some huge percentage of the actual sale of the product go to that cause, I believe, don't they?
Yes, sir. A portion goes directly to Boomer's Foundation to find a cure. His son has CF.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Well, then it's a sincere endeavor.
Yes, he really goes all out for that.
Now, the chassis on your machine is definitely not the same configuration as that on the Kentuckian.
No, it's a wedge-style frame. It's a banner configuration like the big mods, and it's a lot looser. It's Dad's is a Humco. There's several Jack Daniels, and there's several in the class that's got that. I don't think the chassis makes a whole lot of difference. It just, you got to make your motors run good, and you get everything to run well. The chassis really doesn't make a lot of difference.
You got to combine that with the experience of knowing how to drive any given track, regardless of the chassis, too.
Yeah, the chassis drive a lot different. Ours is kind of like driving a mini rod, and the other trucks kind of like driving a lawn tractor. You're mowing your yard, so it's just.
Now, if you count Wayne's dad, we're talking 4 generations here, going down to your son Brant. Is there ever a time you remember when you didn't go to a pole?
No, that's all I've ever done. They drag raced a little bit before I started, but ever since I can remember, I've been drug around these county fairs and national events all over the country.
I presume that even though it's 2 separate teams with you and Danny and then Wayne and Paul, you still travel together all the time?
Oh yeah, we got one semi. We put them both in, and it's one whole team, but we try to keep the driving down to one truck because it's a lot easier to get focused on one vehicle than it is jumping back and forth.
So there you have it, a huge family with an awful lot of members with 2 completely different design trucks, both of which can win at any given event. Now, the Kentuckian name, that's pretty self-explanatory, but a lot of people wonder, thumper? Well, where does the thumper noise come from?
A Brett Kepner special there. Of course, everyone knows that Brett's a bunny guy, right?
He has several bunny rabbits as pets. Hard to figure.
Well, here comes Mr. Sullivan with his shot at it. Still in the lead, Roger Simon, 246.70. But Sullivan screaming that motor.
Screaming indeed, Tom, but he is going to come up considerably short. Well, this is up and going, and here comes Don Finney making a run of it.
Look at the weight Don has got racking it out on the side just to keep the front end down, and we've got a fire in the hole, as they say. Don Finney has got a little fire situation. Let's check it out on the Lucas Oil replay. Doesn't look like anything major, maybe just an oil or a fuel line is busted there. Right at the end of the run, it detonates, and, well, there goes the fireworks.
And with more on that, let's go down to Brett.
I know that's not the Finney finale that you enjoy, but a lot of times it's not as serious as it sounds or looks.
We just blew the blower gasket out. If I was going to run tomorrow, it'd be fine. The engine run pretty good for us. We have tore up 2 engines in the last 2 times out. We drove 500 miles last night to get this engine and get back.
That's right. From what I understand, you ran here, then you turned around and drove back home and had to come back, and you probably haven't slept in 2 days.
Oh, yeah. We got 4 hours sleep at the hotel this morning from 7 till noon.
Well, then you're not too bad, but luckily, like I said, the damage isn't as serious.
No, we just lifted the blower.
Kind of a casual attitude, Tom. He's talking about it, flames coming around, and he's talking about it like it's a picnic.
That's the Don Finney that I know well. Here comes Jerry Harton. Jerry has upgraded this motor some and is making a good pass. Going to come up short, but still a respectable run, 212.18.
And, Tom, here comes the guy I call the busiest man in all of motorsports. I've seen him at a drag race on Sunday, and the night before, he's here at a tractor pull.
Jim Lyons was second earlier this evening in the modified four-wheel drive category. His two-wheel drive truck going to come up short. Still going to put him, though, in the top 10.
And he builds his own engines in his spare time. To the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky. You've dialed in another exciting evening of ATPA truck and tractor pulling, and the business at hand, Jeff McPherson in the Old Bean Bandit.
Jeff just got off his first win this year up in Goshen, Indiana. He was second at this event 2 years ago. Not going to take home a first prize here tonight, 235.74.
We might mention, too, Tom, the mark to beat right now, 246 feet.
Here comes Roger Simon's other teammate. This is the Ford portion of the Simon team. Dan Walsh doing the driving out of Wisconsin, 239.92.
And, Tom, that will bring up Steve Bunnage in the Mopar Madness. Not too many Mopars here this evening.
Well, this Mopar having some problems bouncing. That starting line is really tricky. You've got to use some finesse getting out of the hole, but you still got to use that power to get the momentum up the hill, and Steve Bunnage is going to come up way, way short.
And that gives me the idea, Tom, that this track is not equal to the entire part of it.
The track is not consistent throughout its entirety. There's good spots, there's bad spots, there's hard spots, there's soft spots. It's a good track for a good driver. A driver's got to figure it out. As you can tell, the Sullivans didn't quite figure it out there. They're coming up way short as we check out the #1 truck on the Grand American Circuit, who is currently leading the class right now. Roger Simon Chevy's in the lead. Here's his Dodge. Boy, his Dodge really comes up short.
He does, Tom, very short.
You got to hook that tractor up.
Well, he hasn't figured it out yet. Well, this is Russell Korf in the Gambler.
Russell Korf should be a guy to watch on this track. It is a tricky track, and Russell might be the guy to figure it out, but Russell is going to come up way short. It's looking like, to me, the track is actually going away. The sun has gone down, and there's not a lot of moisture coming up. And the guys that hooked earlier are the ones that are up in front.
And, Tom, you mentioned the temperature change. I asked Russell this evening before the event started, with temperature changing, how do you figure your engine setup, your tuning? And he said, I use a computer. I talked with Jim Lyons. I asked him the same question. He said, I don't have a computer. I just go by experience and what I feel like. So we'll see which one wins.
Every guy has their own way of doing it. Randy Brown currently in the top 5 in Jasper Engines points, making a good run, but man, these guys are really coming up short. The track has just incredibly gone away is what it looks like.
And as the moments go by, we can see each distance is getting shorter and shorter.
Here's a guy that has pulled in Brandenburg many, many times, and he too is noticing the change in the track and falls off really, really short. Ricky Long, 192.16.
Danny Hubert coming up now in the Jack Daniels truck. He's had pretty good success throughout most of the season so far.
Still looking for that first win, though. Maybe tonight could be his night with the Jack Daniels Express. And I like the fact that he has the air breather on the top of that supercharger turned around backwards. That's to keep from sucking any dirt into the motor. He's got the front end up. He's going to get down there. Well, still going to come up short. Roger Simon really did good on that first run.
And I believe, Tom, that is the only time I've ever seen a breather turned around like that.
David Skinner coming up, Georgetown, Kentucky, kind of a local boy. David comes up short again.
He came up short, but that is such a classy truck. Check out the design on the side there. I just love that truck.
Daryl Varner will round out the class. He's got to be 246.70, which is utterly smooth. Can he do it? The front end is not. No, not going to do it, Claude.
And as we go to the standings now, we'll see very quickly that it all started early this evening with Roger Simon's mark of 246 feet. After that, it started to go away quickly. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have more lightweight superstock tractors. Welcome back to the First Federal Savings Bank Bluegrass Nationals from the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky. Claude Wood along with Tom McConnell tonight. And what a great evening for truck and tractor pulling as we look at Randy Payne on his John Deere getting ready to do business.
Randy Payne won this event last night, Claude. Can he make it 2 nights in a row? We're going to find out now as the guesswork's making a really good run. 224.66, that'll be the mark to beat.
And as we take a look at the Lucas Oil replay, we can see RPMs came up, the black smoke. It is a diesel tractor, so he is underway immediately. Wheels up in the air, pretty good run.
I am expecting some wild rides in this class. He had to fight it in the starting line. It's going to be a neat class.
Now, Randy, you sat back and watched the two-wheel drive trucks, and you watched that track starting to come apart. You had to start thinking of a game plan. What was it?
Well, we run on the track last night and made a real good run, and all we know to do is just sort of try to do the same thing tonight, but we didn't get hardly as good a hook.
You really didn't change any of the weight around or a different gear or anything?
Oh, no, we tried to run about the same.
You think that might be good enough, or do you regret it now?
Well, I don't know. My front end was still up some, and we couldn't have changed much. We might have moved the weight back if we'd had to do again.
Well, Tom, not too far away in Shelbyville, Kentucky, this is Alan Moore driving the Outrageous. It's an Alice Chalmers, of course.
Talk about a wild ride. Look at Alan inside that cage being beat around. But Alan might have just taken over the lead. Yes, indeed, 233.34. As we check it out in the Lucas Oil replay, you can see the tractors rocking every which way, but Alan takes over the lead.
I'll tell you, though, that looked like one of those classic rides where you may have messed up on the decision of what to run, but it worked anyway.
Yeah.
What was wrong? I mean, it was a pretty violent little pass.
Yeah, it was pretty violent. We was a little bit light on the nose on it, but
yeah, it came up real quick.
Yeah, I did. And of course, we wanted it to come up quick, but I didn't want it to stay that high.
Hey, you can laugh all you want, because whatever it was that you did or didn't do, it worked.
If I can just be out in front when the class is over.
Yeah, Tom, I think sometimes you just take what the track is going to give you.
Back in 1992, at this particular location, the Meade County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky, Joe Perkins won the Super Farm Point Championship with the Bluegrass Pulling Association. This upgraded this tractor to Superstock, but here tonight in Meade County, he's having problems.
Problems, you could hear the superchargers wind down as he let off the throttle there. Well, we look into the business operating position here of Leroy Mason getting all set to go.
Leroy has been the man for the past 2 years on the ATPA Jasper Engine Pulling Series. He has been the man at Brandenburg many, many times. Can Leroy take over the lead? He's got to be 233.34. Not gonna do it. I guarantee you Alan Moore feels a lot better right now. Yeah, he just got lucky because that was one guy that he was concerned about that could easily overtake him.
And I think, Tom, Leroy Mason would be the first to tell you he is not happy with that pull at all.
Or look at our only Deutsch on the Grand American ATPA circuit. Ben Kennedy doing the driving, and Ben is getting wild on this tractor. Ben has to shut her down just to keep her in bounds. 200.76, way off the bat.
Well, Tom, he tried out most of the track there. Stay with us, more like weights when we come back here on Speed Grid. Meade County Fairgrounds, the home of tonight's festivities. A lot of fun for the entire family, but just nearby, welcome to the Brandenburg, Kentucky area for American Tractor Pullers Association.
Interesting to know we have an Alice Chalmers in the lead. We have an Alice Chalmers, Ken McKillop going down the track. Ken is running the small block motor, the one in the lead. Alan Moore's running the big block, and it's definitely a big block night as Ken McKillop comes up way short.
And Tom, I'm beginning to wonder as the time goes on, we're seeing these distances fall shorter and shorter as Fred Roach begins to get into place now.
Well, it looks like the track is going away, so it's going to take a lot of power and a driver really figuring out the track to compensate for that. Fred Roach makes his pass. Fred knows this track well, but the little blue not going to do it here tonight.
Right on the beginning there, Tom, he really tried to finesse his start, but it did not work out for him. Charles Kemper driving the orange field now. Charles is from Worthville, Kentucky. Very nice looking tractor, and we'll see how he makes his run, especially on the beginning.
Remember earlier in the heavyweight superstock, he won that category. Now he has to take a ton of weight off the tractor. You can tell he doesn't have enough weight to actually control it. If he could have controlled that tractor, sure he would have been down a lot farther, 217 and change, way off the bat.
And you saw him fighting the steering wheel there, Tom, while the front end was up in the air. Didn't make a whole lot of difference.
Here's one of the founders of the American Tractor Pullers, Harold Finley. Been with the ATPA since its beginning. 2019. Tough competitor out of Western Tennessee and is a many-time winner here at Brandenburg. Let's see what Harold can do here.
Not many Fords on the ground tonight, but you can see he has a pretty good run started, but drifting over toward that right side of the track.
Good pass, but still going to come up short. Alan Moore's really starting to look good at this point. We check it out in the Lucas Oil replay. He had a good run going. It started to rock on him. He had to get on the brakes, and that started costing him distance.
And Tom, probably the youngest puller to be here tonight. We'll take a look now at Brandy Essery. What is she, 19, 20 years old?
She's 19 years old, and earlier this year on the Speed Vision Network, you saw this tractor get second behind Larry Phillips in Boonville, Indiana. This is a tough tractor. Look at the track. It is making that tractor rock all over. Claude, she is getting close. She has taken over the lead, 2:34.18. Let's check it out again on the Lucas Oil replay. Picture perfect run right in the middle of the track. It is rough. Everybody's been bouncing. She has enough power to compensate for it. You see her father running down the side of the track. He has got to be thrilled.
Tom, she fought that most of the way, and it paid off. Let's go down to Brett.
I think that might have been one of the most important pulls you ever made, because this track is throwing curveballs at the most experienced people in the sport, and you figured it out and kicked their heads in.
Yes, sir. We've had a lot of problems the last 2 nights. The tractor hasn't ran, and looks like we patched it back together today, and I'm really thrilled with that run.
Now, that had to be one of the most violent rides I think you've taken, isn't it?
Close, yeah.
Now, did you expect the front end? Did you set it up for the front end to go that high? Because normally you're pretty conservative on the starting line. That usually works.
Yeah, I was expecting it to come up pretty high.
You know, we saw her dad running down the sideline. I can only wonder what was going through his mind during part of that violent run, Tom.
Don't even know if I want to know. Check it out, the Wilhite brothers, Bardstown, Kentucky, where they call home. Beautiful New Holland Ford, the alcoholic. Of course, it refers to the fuel source. This is an alcohol-powered tractor, and they are having major problems there.
Not a good evening for them. Well, Rick Ross will give it a shot now on top of the Moonshiner. Well, we go from alcoholic to Moonshiner. A theme here?
You got it. They're all referring to the fuel choice. Of course, the prominent fuels are the diesels, but the alcohol tractors have really come on strong in the past 10 years, and in fact, we've got an alcohol tractor leading the class. Rick Ross comes up short, 2:19.92.
Brandy Essery still in first place. More lightweight super stocks when we come back. County Fairgrounds in Brandenburg, Kentucky for the First Federal Savings Bank Bluegrass Nationals. Brought to you by Jasper Engines and Transmissions, the nation's leader in remanufactured engines and transmissions. And by Lucas Oil Products, #1 in the trucking industry. And by Liberty Herbicide, freedom from crop injury and weeds. Now to the business at hand. We continue with the lightweight super stocks. This is Corey Forrester.
Corey Forrester, I bet you he's going to wear his feet out before he's done. You can see his foot trying to control the tractor with the brakes. He is close. 2:27.63, good enough for third place at this point. Let's check it out in the Lucas Oil instant replay. That tractor was up high. When you get it that high, if you can't control it, you lose your drawbar height. You get out of control and you lose footage at the end, and that's what happened to him.
And also one other thing happening, Tom, this track is really providing a workout for these pullers tonight.
Shirley Haney backing up to the sled. You see the cotton on the side of his tractor. He is a cotton farmer from Athens, Alabama to Stack. Shirley has problems. Got the word from the pits. Didn't get past 100 foot. He's dropping to last. One more option will be all that he can.
Orange tractor, that means Alice Chalmers, and this will be Tim Mann coming up now to give it a run.
Tim Mann is rookie year in the professional sport of ATPA Jasper engine pulling. They used to run a farm stock before the John Deere actually, he and his brother did. They've gone orange, and they're liking what they found. A little fire out the end there, nothing major.
Well, 196 feet, that puts him right in the middle of the hunt. Chris Blacken will drive the Frog Hammer, and this is one of the few Fords that are in the program tonight.
Chris Blacken is another young competitor. Took a second place at the Lucas Oil Summer Nationals up in Wabash, Indiana a couple of years back, but is still looking for his first ever ATPA win. Having clutch problems, the tires just aren't spinning as hard as they should, and he's going to shut down 203.20.
Shirley Haney up next, who dropped to last a few minutes ago. This is his second try.
See if Shirley can get the tractor lined out. He's got a new turbo set up. In fact, you can see the housing of the turbochargers on the outside. Shirley cannot get it lit, which means Brandy Esri wins her first ever ATPA Grand American win. Alan Moore so close in second.
You have joined the ranks of ATPA Jasper National Event winners.
Yeah, I'm really excited about this. This is my first Grand American win, and I would like to thank all the people who support American Tractor Puller Association, Liberty Herbicide, Valco, Jasper Engines, and Lucas Oil Products.
First Case National Event win I can think of in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
That too.
Yeah.
Now, this is also an early birthday present. I believe your birthday's coming up 4 years. But there are strange rumors going on about some kind of upcoming wedding.
Yes, I'm engaged to be married next spring.
When did this happen?
Christmas.
Well, you've been keeping this a secret. Where is he? He's got to be here somewhere.
I don't know where he's at.
Well, I'm sure you'll celebrate with him. Congratulations. You earned this win. You beat him to death.
Yes, thank you.
Good.
As we take a look at tonight's standings in the heavyweight superstock division, Charles Kemper in first place, Leroy Mason not too far behind, followed by Kenneth Hale and Robert Galloway. Modified four-wheel drive saw Galen Young have a successful night. Jim Lyons in second place, followed by Mike Clark, Lionel Baker, and Donna Webb surprisingly in last. Super modified two-wheel drive trucks, Roger Simon and Rich Sanford hitting up the top of the class. And Tom, the points look very interesting.
Kenny Hale looks like he will go on to win another championship if things go as planned for his team. In the four-wheel drive category, it is getting tough. Donna Webb, a lead over Galen Young, but don't count Galen out. It is going to be tough. What can we say about Simon Says? Simon Says 1 and 2 right now. Do not count out the thumper. In the lightweight category, Leroy Mason has the lead, but his nemesis in the Diesel International, Larry Phillips, and Insanity on his heels.
And that puts a wrap on tonight's program. Thanks for joining us for Brett Kepner and Tom McConnell of Logwood. Good evening.